Hello and welcome. My name is Kim. This is Kim's Wellness Space, and this is the latest podcast episode. As I am recording this, it is the 2nd of June, and I thought it was quite a good place to put this podcast because this is about being honest with yourself and not just honest with yourself as in, oh yeah, I think I'm doing it, but actually really brass tacks honest with yourself. I'm going to give you some examples. They're going to be me. As always, I like to use myself as a experiment and as evidence of what's going on. And at the beginning of the month, it's really good. Like if you're in my world on Instagram, you know that every single Wednesday I do reflect and reset. And the beginning of the month is exactly the same. You can look back over the last month or, the year so far, see where you're going, see where you want to go, and then you can tweak things. And because it's our wellness and our health and our fitness, we're always tweaking things. Nothing stays the same. We get older, our environment changes, we get fitter. Like there are lots of things that make up our wellness, as you know, and it's really healthy to look at them and then flex them, change them, tweak them, because nothing ever stays exactly the same ever. But to be able to change things, be able to tweak them, or even actually just to reflect, we have to be honest with ourselves. And that's why I always say keep a journal or a diary or just notes in your phone if that's how you work, because we're very good at making narratives around things and telling ourselves stories that aren't true. And if you're listening to this thinking, absolutely, I do not do that, Kim, I think you probably do, because we're all guilty of it in different ways. And it's not a bad thing and it's not wrong. It's actually our brains keeping us safe. It's building up evidence for us to say, absolutely, you don't need to do that because of this, and this, and it's fine. But actually, if you're wanting to make change and change isn't happening, getting really, really honest with what you're actually doing rather than what you're telling yourself you're doing, there is a difference. So how does this look? So the first example that I'm going to give you is that I always say, and I'm sure if you've been around here for a while, you've heard me, I always say, when it gets to summer, I don't walk. I mean, I do walk a little bit, but I don't go on walks with my headphones on, listening to music or podcasts like I do in the winter months. When it comes to late spring and into summer, very early autumn, I always say I don't walk, I swim. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, last week we had visitors and we did go out and walk in the morning, and I love it. I love being outside walking. Like, I am not a runner. I've never been a runner, but asked me to go for a walk, yes, please. And we walked. We walked early in the morning. We walked in the afternoon, sort of late afternoon into evening. We did exploring, so we were walking in the daytime. Not once did I say, I can't do this because it's too hot or because I'm whatever, X, Y, and Z, and I can't do it. Not once. All the time I was walking, I loved it. And it was only, I think, on the third time that we'd been out that I said, do you know what? I don't even know why I say I don't walk, because this is lovely. Why am I not doing this? I absolutely can walk and I can swim and I can do my workout. I get to do all of that. So when I stood back and looked at what I was doing, probably there were occasions where I walked where I was really overheated because it was really hot. And maybe that was because at that time I was holding more weight than I am now. Maybe it was because I'm not as fit as I am now. Maybe it was unseasonably hot and I just picked the wrong day. There are lots of reasons why I could have, maybe I hadn't drunk enough water that day, or maybe I didn't take water with me. Lots and lots of reasons why that could be a not great feeling on that one walk. But my brain had obviously remembered that. And then rather than looking back on all the times I had walked, every time I was going to walk, it went, oh, yeah, but last time you were a bit hot. Last time you got thirsty. Last time this, last time that. And so that then became this narrative that I believed that I was telling myself, so that now I just say, oh, no, I don't walk in the summer. I swim. Nonsense. Absolutely, I'm going to be walking. So from June, that's changing. I am now walking and swimming and working out. I absolutely can do it all and will be doing it all and am doing it all. So that's the first example. And also, I want to say, I've been doing this a long time and I'm still catching myself out. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. So don't for 1 minute like give yourself a hard time and think, oh, well, it's easier because it's not. Like literally, it's not. I'm exactly the same as you. We all do it. So that's a really good example of where I have built this whole story and narrative around something that probably only happened once, but because I believed it and because I repeated it, because I said it, because I put it out there in the world, all of a sudden it was true. And it's absolutely not true. I actually had two examples when I came on here, and the other I never make notes when I do this, and the other examples traveled right out of my head for the moment. So I'm going to come to my third point, and then hopefully the second point will come back because it was something very similar about the narrative that I'd built around something like the walking, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. It'll come. So I want to go to the last point that I was going to make, and that is that also the other great thing about keeping all of this evidence is that sometimes we surprise ourselves. So today, I knew that I was having quite a relatively relaxing day. I knew I'd be around the pool and in the pool. I knew I wasn't going out of the house. So when I got up, I put a swimming costume on with like a coverall thing. And when I put it on, I did think, it doesn't feel like it normally does. It's a bit strange. I didn't really give it much more thought than that. And then when sort of as I was moving around my day, I could feel it kind of moving. I was thinking, it's very strange. So before I went for a swim, I thought I'll just change swimming costumes. This one just feels a bit weird. I don't really know why. I don't know what's going on. It's just a bit weird. And then I looked at it and I was thinking, it doesn't actually fit me anymore. Like the bit above, the bit that holds my boobs in was not very tight and not holding very, and the bit around my bottom was very, very saggy. And I was thinking, there's a lot of material here. How strange, because this is the swimming costume that's in my size. And I know because at the moment I'm doing 100 days of wellness on YouTube and I'm videoing myself every day. So it's because I'm doing that, I'm weighing myself every day. I know that my weight hasn't really moved. Like it has come down a little bit. Then we've had lots of visitors, so it's kind of stayed where it is. I've maintained, which is absolutely fine. But I have been doing a lot of swimming, a lot of walking. I have picked up my weights again. I am working out, and my body has changed shape. So when I went to pick a swimming costume that did fit me, I actually came down a whole size. And as I picked up the smaller one, I was thinking, I'm not sure that this is going to fit because this is the small one that doesn't fit, which is why I'd bought the bigger one. But remember, now the bigger one doesn't fit. So I thought, oh, I'll put the smaller one. It'll be fine. It'll probably be a bit tight. No, it's not a bit tight. It's fine. And in fact, I could probably go down another size if I'm completely honest, but I don't have a smaller one with me and I wanted to go for a swim. So it's very important to remember, particularly when you're a bit older, that just because that scale weight doesn't move, your body composition absolutely does. And the more working out you do, the leaner you become, your body shape literally just changes. And so I have gone down a whole dress size, but the scale weight is still exactly the same. If I'm honest, because we're talking about being completely honest, I absolutely do want to release a little bit more of the weight that I'm holding, because then I know that I can move even more and then I can enjoy more things. And it's just where I am in my life at the moment. There's nothing wrong with my body shape. I love my body. It's really strong. Like this year, it has done all sorts of amazing things and supported me in all sorts of ways. So there's nothing wrong with me at all. However, I'm quite happy. I'd like to come down that one more dress size. That would be quite nice. And now my brain has kicked in And because I've been talking about that, I remember what the other point was. So the second point of being absolutely honest with yourself and how you build this narrative around yourself is to do with how we track our food. Now, you may be someone that tracks your calories. You may be someone that tracks your macros. You may be someone that just keeps a food diary. You may be someone that has just done this for so long that you kind of know what you can and can't eat, and you can feel it in your body if you eat a little bit too much, and then you can bring it back. Because remember, if we're talking fat loss, we have to be in a calorie deficit. Doesn't matter about anything else. You have to be in a calorie deficit. So we all have different ways of doing that and tracking it and monitoring it. And some people are really good at just knowing that they can eat X, Y, and Z every day, and that is a natural deficit for them. But they're usually people that have been through a process of trying all the other things. So I am someone who I have tracked in the past. I've counted points, I've counted sins, I've done all that stuff. I don't do any of that anymore. I have kept a food diary. I absolutely know what foods make me feel amazing and what foods make me feel sluggish and tired. I know that. I've practiced that. But I would say, well, I do say that I don't track on an app because actually I find it very tedious. I find it very boring. I find that I can do it for a couple of days and then I just stop because I just don't like doing it. However, I do know that I need to be in a calorie deficit if I want to lose a little bit of weight. And as I just said, I'd quite happily go down another size. So I need to get myself in that deficit. So how am I going to do that? Well, if I'm being honest, I need to track. And I had a conversation, and as we were chatting, it came up in conversation that actually it's not that hard to track. And you don't even have to be that precise. Like you can give yourself a window of, it can be between this number and this number, and maybe 500 calories each side, because none of these apps are absolutely precise. It's a bit like the watches when you track your walk. Like last week, when we had our guests, 3 out of 4 of us had a watch that tracked our steps and our miles or kilometers that we traveled, and every single watch said something different, and we'd all been on exactly the same walk. So we know that these things aren't exact, but they give us a guideline. And it's the same with tracking. It's a guide. So I know that I can give myself a bit of space either side. I know it doesn't have to be absolutely exact, but what it does do is it makes me be really honest with myself. And we don't really have processed food in the house. But when people are visiting, we do. We have like the odd packet of crisps, we have some biscuits. And, if you've been here any time at all, I love a biscuit. And I was going to say a packet of crisps, actually. I love a packet of crisps. I have a new love for biscuits because I've just found some new plant-based ones that I can eat that I didn't know that were plant-based, which is probably a bit dangerous. But if I'm not tracking, then I eat them without really being aware that I'm eating them. If I'm tracking, I absolutely am eating them more intentionally because I'm not going to restrict them. I'm not going to not have them because I don't do that. But definitely, if I'm tracking, I would probably say, oh, well, I have my calories planned out for the day. I already know what meals I'm having for today, but actually there are a few calories left. So I could have 2 biscuits. If I'm not tracking, I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I've been okay. My food's okay today. I'll have some. I could eat half a packet. So it's about being much more intentional about what you're doing. And the whole narrative that I'd built around, I'm not someone that tracks because it's really hard and I don't like it and it's boring. Well, again, that's just nonsense because it's not actually that hard. And yeah, it might be a little bit boring, but it doesn't take any time at all. And actually, if I can be a person that has changed from being a night owl to an early morning person, if I can be a person that has gone from doing absolutely no workouts to loving the fact that I get to work out, if I've gone from someone who struggled to work out once a week to then working out 6 times a week, I absolutely can track a few bits of food on an app. Like that is not difficult. That is just me putting a hurdle in the way. And why am I doing that? That's the thing. Why am I putting that hurdle in the way? Am I just being a bit lazy? Do I not really mind the size that I am? Do I, maybe going down a dress size is not that important to me? Maybe I'm really comfortable and happy where I am. Like, there's lots of different things, and none of them are wrong. And it doesn't matter, but you do have to be honest with yourself to find out where you are. So I had to have a bit of a conversation with myself and say, okay, I'm telling myself I would like to be in a little bit of a smaller body, in a smaller dress size, so that I can do more stuff because I feel amazing and I want to feel even more amazing. And if I want to do that, I know that I've got to be in a calorie deficit. So I'm going to have to suck it up and start tracking so that I know where I am. Simple as that. If it's not that important to me, well, I don't have to do it, but then I have to understand that nothing is going to change. Because if we don't change anything, then we stay exactly where we are. So if I'm here this time next year in exactly this body, is that going to be a major drama? No, probably not. But is that what I'm wanting for myself? No, not really. I actually do want to change it up. So I've got to do something about it. So starting June, I've reflected back. I am doing this 100 days on YouTube. So that's really good anyway, because it's keeping me very, very accountable of what I'm doing. And also, if you're interested and you want to go and have a look, I am now on day 77 of the 100, but they're all there on YouTube. And it's really interesting because it shows you in real time what happens and actually how long it takes. Like, it's not 6 weeks, it's not 3 weeks. It takes a lifetime. It shouldn't be rushed. I've absolutely made progress, but it's small little steps, building, building, building. So, if I hadn't been conscious and I hadn't been doing that, I probably wouldn't have gone down a size in my swimsuit. So I am making progress. But if I want to make more, I have to be honest with myself of what I'm going to do. And so here we are, beginning of June. I absolutely am a person that walks now. I get to walk as many times as I want to. I get to swim as many times as I want to. And I get to work out as much as I want to. That's exciting. I absolutely have started tracking, and I'm going to keep tracking so that I'm in that calorie deficit. And to be honest, I won't be tracking forever and ever. But for now, I'm going to track because it keeps me exactly where I want to be, so that I'm in complete control of what I'm doing, so that I can move forward, so that I can get to that end result. So I'm not saying that you have to get out there and start walking about madly. I'm also not saying that you have to track. But what I am saying is we have to be super honest with ourselves. And if you are in a place where you are saying, I'm doing everything and nothing's working, I don't understand, it's probably because you're not actually doing exactly what you think you're doing. It's very, very easy for our brains to keep us in a safe place. And so, as I say, we build these narratives, we make excuses. And if you actually want change, it is difficult. You do need support, and it is going to take you much, much longer than you think it is. But you definitely can do it. And it's exciting. Literally, you can control what you look like. Absolutely. And that is super exciting. So if you're listening to this thinking, actually, do you know what? She's got a point, but I'm not really sure. As a coach, I am here for you. Accountability is my thing. I definitely, if you want to work one-to-one with me, come find me over on Instagram. I'm more than happy to chat. I also do this really lovely coaching, which is called a wellness audit. And it's really good. And it would be perfect for this time, actually, because in that hour on Zoom together, that's what we do. We get honest. We look at what we're doing. We look at what we're not doing. We look at what our goal actually really is, and we look at our why, and we find it, and then we get first steps to going. So if you're interested in change, if you've got to that point where you're like, do you know what, I'm doing it, nothing's happening, I don't understand it, a wellness audit is absolutely perfect for you. So again, come over to Instagram, drop into my DMs, let's start chatting. Let's see if together we can start you moving forwards towards that goal that you want. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you found that useful. I love sharing things that are actually in real time happening to me, because I think it's much more relatable for us if we can understand that everybody goes through these things and everybody has to find the magic to get us moving forward. So thanks so much for being here. I would love chatting with you, and I will speak to you again very, very soon.